'82, I was 17, my old man was 55. If you do the math between the two of us, that's 72 years alive. An eternity, so it seemed to me. How could anything live that long? Now I say my folks were only 84 the year that they passed on. For a little while it seems you got time to choose your dreams. Pretty soon you look around and you see 100 years ain't what it used to be. And my grandpa Roy, when he was a boy in 1904, he was taught by men who fought in the actual Civil War. And only 8 decades passed and my high school class put the tassels on the other side. Started on our way full of naivete on the great American ride. The months and years slide past, each more quickly than the last. Pretty soon you look around and you'll see 100 years ain't what it used to be. Oh, Johnny!
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Johnny, hey! Oh, yeah!
Did the guitar face.
Ibuprofen's under buy again in my online shopping cart. Every week I learn of something else I should be doing for my heart. If I use the wrong pillow, I might have trouble getting out of bed. My hair grows in my ears and nose now more than on my head. As a kid, to me, ancient history was something like World War I. But I arrived closer to that time than this year as I sing this song. And I'm starting to find I can wrap my mind around life is brief and dear. I can hardly believe my baby girl's turned 26 this year. For a little while it seems you got time to choose your dreams. Pretty soon you look around and you'll see everybody 100 years ain't what it used to be. Before you know it, you're 63, making plans for Medicare A and B. You look around yourself and you see 100 years ain't what it used to be.
Rolling.
The Knack Hardware and Lounge brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1551, May 27th, 2025. 95 degrees on this day in 1969, and I think I have a memory of that day that I shall share with you. And it was 34 degrees on the morning of this day in 1907.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake,
Makes sense.
it's Garage Logic with
Matt,
Chris Reavers manning
Look
Technology
up
Corner.
what day
Kenny
was
Olson from the
May
Krabby Coffee Shop.
27th in
John Haidt in the newsroom.
1969.
And of course, the rookie. Here is
What?
your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner,
I think it was
and the
this day.
keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Sushiro.
Thanks, Tony. Yeah.
Did I talk over?
Oh, yeah.
A little bit.
What do you think, Matt? What was
It was
May 27th, 1969?
Tuesday.
Was it Tuesday?
Yes.
Wilson.
That might have been. I got hired by the Pioneer Press while still in college for some menial task to work in the library or something. It wasn't a reporter's job or anything like that. It was headed towards a summer deal.
Internship
Well,
type of
something
thing?
like that while still in school. But I remember the first day I had the job was preceded by me being outside. And it was so hot.
How
I
hot
said,
was it?
well, 95 degrees if it was this day.
She was a
And
steamer.
I got so seriously sunburned that I left that job that day in such pain that I couldn't do it. And boy, it took 20 years to get back there. I mean, it took a long time to work my way back. But they still had a building then.
Oh, that was nice.
Did you quit on the spot?
I think I did.
Did you, like, blistering that bad?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh, that's the worst.
And I couldn't do this menial task of shuffling papers or whatever. It was a very weak output on my turn.
So, wait a minute. So then when you were reacquired by the Pioneer Press, and say, hey, didn't this guy quit after one day?
Yeah, I should be a file on me already.
There probably was a file.
Did you have to
Anyway.
use salve?
Salve, ointment, unguent.
Gotcha.
You know, the whole
The
deal.
sun's ruthless.
Blistering after a sunburn is literally
I
the
don't
worst
know
thing
that
ever.
all I remember is it was hot, I was sunburned, and I said, the hell with this. And I left.
You don't know where you were, though.
I have no clue.
Got it.
So, but it was a hot day in May.
But you covered that topic.
I'm picking today, May 27th, a Tuesday. I would have swore it was a Saturday, but maybe I'm wrong. Hey. Memorial Day weekend is come and gone.
But wait a minute. When you're in college, is it every day Saturday?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, apparently you replayed a show that we did the day after George Floyd died.
Friday's show was the replay of the day after George Floyd passed away, and then yesterday I reran Vince Flint for Memorial Day.
Well, the George Floyd show, the listeners are having great sport with me, ripping the hell out of me for what I said the day after George Floyd died.
Why,
And
though?
I don't remember everything I said. I remember saying that I can't unsee what I saw. That video of the neck on the knee was terribly powerful. That was an optical powerhouse of a vision, and I don't recall why the listeners are so angry. Obviously, I was violating my own 48 to 72 hour rule on not knowing all the facts of a significant incident. Well, I do know with 5 years of hindsight, which we all can straighten things out with 5 years of hindsight.
But that's just it. I guess that's why I wanted to replay it, because number one, you couldn't wait 48 hours with this story. We had to talk about it.
No, because the city also coincidentally was erupting in violence.
Right.
I know that was called peaceful protest, but it was violence.
Mostly peaceful.
Mostly
protest.
peaceful. And so, yeah, we went with it. That's what you have to do. That was the breaking news of the day, and it was so significant and so powerful that we were talking about it, and I'm sure I got many things wrong. What I do know now after 5 years of reflection is that there are certainly people in the race industry who took advantage of that and turned it into this myth that he was this wonderful human being who was so violently, had his life so violently taken from him. But see, you can't win in this topic. You can't say what you know now. He was a junkie. He was full of fentanyl. He's a lousy father. He was a career criminal. He was all of this. But you can't, there's nowhere to go with that because that still doesn't justify the guy dying, which appeared to be in the hands of police and probably was not. He died of an overdose, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it depends on what part of the...
Depends on what you want to read and what you want to look at. But it's still, that powerful video really shaped a lot of the thinking that took place at the time. That was a powerful, powerful video that was strengthened by someone, a bystander, keep hectoring Chauvin, get off him, he can't breathe, get off him, he can't breathe. And the camera remained on that scene, and it was terribly, terribly powerful. And
because remind me, the young woman that filmed it, that we all saw the video, she won something, didn't she? Didn't she win a...
Yeah, she was very celebrated for that video as well. She might have been. It was a very powerful, powerful video, and nothing. You can't win. You cannot say that, because whatever you say would sound like it's tantamount to that he was worth killing. Well, no one's worth killing, no matter who they are. That's just not the way we operate in Western civilization, and certainly Floyd did not deserve to die, apparently, at the hands of police. That's still so controversial, it's hard to discern. But the myth part is what's infuriating, because nothing has changed at 38th and Chicago.
Darnella Frazier.
Yeah, she won a Pulitzer Prize.
Yeah, the people celebrating for Floyd pretend to believe he should be canonized and that his place of death is a memorial. Well, if that's so, millions and millions of taxpayer dollars have been spent on it. Nothing has happened. There's no aesthetic pleasantry there whatsoever. He instantly became institutionalized as the front man for racial integrity. The race crowd got a hold of it and turned it into an industry, which lasts till this day. And yet you want to tell me that you're really memorializing this guy. Fry can't stop weeping, and everyone. Okay, then why is that still a dump? I wrote about that Sunday, and even the emails I got didn't get what I was saying, because they ripped me for honoring Floyd. It wasn't so much I was honoring Floyd. I was saying of the people who honor Floyd haven't done a damn thing. Mm-hmm. It's a dump. It's a pathetic embarrassment. It's full of malignant idleness. It's graffiti, and in the early days, you'll remember that it was a corrupt place that was run by self-appointed gatekeepers. And if you had the magic word, you could swing by the Sawhorse Gate and get in. But police were held in contempt, and it was a mess, and remains a mess. That's my point. It remains a mess. So what are you doing, all you people who have decided to canonize George Floyd? What have you done? You haven't done a damn thing. Nothing. You continue to hide behind that. And that's with 5 years of being able to dwell on it.
Your guy, Jason Chavez, was all over it, by the way.
I'm sure he was.
Pointing or taking photos of a selfie with food trucks and whatnot in the background.
Great.
Right.
It's not a square. It's called George Floyd Square. Squares are peaceful, shady areas, usually in the middle of sprawling cities, that accommodate quietude and peace and tranquility and reflection. This is a mess. It's always remained a mess. The people who have spent your money debating it haven't done a thing, and that's all I have on it. I don't know where to take this. It's become part of It's become part of the national mystique. That and another thing, if he revolutionized policing, or certainly nothing has been done to commemorate that except throw consent decrees on the Minneapolis police and continue to not trust them, and on and on and on. It was a confluence of, and I think we did say this at the time. Something was waiting to boil over. This just happened, and part of that, I guess, is COVID. Although I'm so sick and tired of COVID being blamed for everything.
No, but what you're saying is that we were all in that. We've been held captive basically inside our homes for months because of the lockdowns and the pandemic. So that did have an effect on everybody. Was kind of sick and tired of being bottled up. I do think we mentioned that on that show.
We did. There was because just. Again, just what? 2 years before was the Super Bowl?
Yes. It was February of 2018.
And you had a Final Four.
19.
April
of 19.
And Minneapolis was functioning.
Mm-hmm.
And then this happened, and everything blew up. It was a confluence of the death of Floyd collided with pent-up rage about a variety of things that had to have been building for a long, long time.
Well, remember the photo, the eerie photo of those apartment structures that were under construction and were essentially, they were gone because they were lit on fire. And that morning after, you looked at that street. I don't remember what street it was in Uptown, but it looked like a third world country.
That and it was nationally significant, if not worldwide significance, to allow a police precinct to burn, to chase the police out of their own building for fear of their lives.
Because those videos were surfacing over the weekend as well.
Yeah,
mostly peaceful protesters setting up barricades outside of the 3rd precinct.
Right.
Before we all knew, obviously, what happened. There's a thread that Jason Chavez posted. Would you like to hear some of it?
Sure.
5 years ago, George Floyd, this is according to Jason Chavez, Minneapolis Ward 9.
Jason Chavez has said publicly that the reason he ran for city council was because of the death of Floyd.
Mm-hmm. 5 years ago, George Floyd was murdered by the Minneapolis Police Department in broad daylight in the Powderhorn Park neighborhood. MPD initially blamed this on a medical incident instead of racism and police brutality that continue to be present today in the city of Minneapolis. What systems of oppression did not realize is that his murder would lead to a worldwide racial reckoning, a racial uprising, calls for justice, and an end to systemic oppression targeting black communities. It was a reminder of the history of police brutality and the work that is still needed today.
Okay, stop, because I can't take it.
Right. I was going to see a long
what it did is really shine a light on what essentially is an academic movement in the failed academy. It shined a light on the way people are viewing each other in America. You're either the oppressor or the oppressed. Yeah, yep. And so many people wish to be oppressed by pointing to oppressors. And that's Jason Chavez, for example, would wholeheartedly buy the idea that the world is divided into oppressors and oppressed. And this myth developed that people of color, John, you're going to have to weigh in to think if you have a counterpoint, but people of color were essentially just captives of oppressors, and I don't believe that. I believe this is the freest country in the world. I don't believe any of the myth that was generated by the race industry. And none of this would have happened if Chauvin had his knee on a white guy's neck. It wouldn't have made the news. Nothing would have happened. But it was a perfect coming together of this idea that, see, look what the oppressors do. And that's been haunting the city, or if not the country, for the last 5 years.
So there.
And that's an academic pursuit. Look at the way the modern white college kid is so quick to label the Jewish people oppressors, believing that Hamas is a legitimate, deserving group of people, but they are suffering under the hands of oppressors because Jewish people's skin tone is just white enough that they can get away with being called oppressors.
Right.
That's where we are, and none of it can go anywhere beyond that, because you can't say you can't wash your hands of Floyd's death and say, "Oh, so what?" You can't do that. Shouldn't be done.
No.
But that's how the oppressors are being viewed. You know, John, what do you think?
I think I agree with you to a point. I don't think race should have had anything to do with the actions that went on that day.
It did, though.
It did. It turned into,
Turned
5
into
years.
5
years of
turned into what we have today.
Yeah. And I do, the oppressor, whatever. That's an argument. We're never going to settle. So I don't even want to get into that.
Well, I'm not going to argue with it. I'm just telling you why you're wrong. But
How many, besides Chauvin, how many of the officers are still behind bars?
all of them.
No.
Just one.
No, yeah.
I was going to say, because didn't...
The Asian guy, wasn't he?
He's still behind
Well,
bars.
one of them was just released. Was it a
Wasn't-
week ago? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Wasn't Lane released, right?
Yeah.
Right, early?
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
Because he was the guy that was standing in the background.
See, the movement became so large and so influential that it generated new city council members. It generated very weak governing because Walls sided with the oppressors.
Well, we waited 3 days to call in the National Guard.
But the point of it becoming such a large force is that I don't see it getting reconciled. I do not
Ever.
have any optimism.
I'd agree with that completely. And you talked about how much influence it had. I mean, the whole world it's
Right,
caused
right.
things for various things to happen.
I just don't see any reconciliation. No. Zero.
No, especially if you go to social media.
Right.
Oh boy.
You'll see no reconciliation.
Well, and that was playing out, John, all weekend.
I know. I
You
tried to
saw,
avoid it,
yeah, I did
desperately.
too. I really did. But then you'd see somebody would post a photo that they were either there, and then that just turned into
Yep.
everyone ripping each other.
Yep. The officers, by the way,
Yeah.
the Asian officer, Tu Tao, is scheduled for release November 3rd of this year.
Okay.
Alexander, I believe it's pronounced Kong, is now on supervised release in January of this year. And Thomas Lane released in August 2024. So Chauvin and Tao are the two still in custody.
And it's such a powerful movement that in the event Chauvin's conviction was overturned, for example, which I don't think Trump's that stupid. Maybe he's got a lot of stupid people around him. But if and he's stupid too. I'm going to play you something in a minute. I'm going to play you something in a minute. Well, he's not stupid. He's not stupid. He's different.
Was that with all due respect?
With all due respect. Not a lot of guys wear their red MAGA hat at the West Point graduation. That was a nice touch. Yeah. And then he didn't shake hands with any of them, which is a 200-year-old tradition. And I can identify with this. He had a tea time.
He had a tea time. It was
He
just
had
like
a tea time.
It was like you when you're going to play golf.
That's
You had to
right.
get the show over.
I
Come
can
on.
identify with
It's like
that.
us at the state fair.
Yeah.
He's got to go.
I gotta go. I gotta
Go.
Even though they clear it's empty when he shows up. He gets to play the course. It's not like he was going to put his ball in the coil there and wait for his
Right,
turn to go to
right.
the first tee.
What do you got over there?
Where was I?
I don't know.
Oh, if Chauvin's conviction was overturned, there would be the same rioting and looting that you saw
Yes.
5 years ago.
Yes, there would be.
Do you think it would make any difference, because he obviously has to stay in jail, that if he pardoned him, he has to be in jail for the state term?
Yeah.
Would that make any difference to rioters?
No.
Just
No.
John, because you're acting as though they would act with reason and logic.
I've been thinking that a lot about America lately. And it
Well,
never
but John,
really
that's an
happens.
interesting point, because here is the point of that. The movement is so powerful that any excuse will pass to riot.
Yep. 100%. We said at the time, we said, what are people doing?
I've been telling you that GLers need guys, and I'm going to include even the legal profession. Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys. If you're like me and many other people I know, you might find the whole how do I handle the insurance company a bit puzzling. It can be hard to deal with, so you need someone on your side. That's important. Mike Bryant from Bradshaw and Bryant and his team are there to explain your rights, represent you, help you in a tough time. That initial consultation with Bradshaw and Bryant, of course, is free. For 6 consecutive years, Mike has been recognized as a super lawyer and has been named among Minnesota's top 40 personal injury lawyers by Minnesota Law and Politics. And they're the defined awarding body, Minnesota Law and Politics. Bradshaw and Bryant hopes you're never in an accident, but if you are, call Bradshaw and Bryant at 800-770-7008 or go to minnesotapersonalinjury.com. And please, Bradshaw and Bryant does not want you to be part of the problem. Don't text and drive or drive distracted. That's just common sense from Bradshaw and Bryant.
Welter.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
You know, the Welter family for 116 years have been helping Minnesotans stay warm, stay cool, and do all sorts of great stuff in the Twin Cities metropolitan area. It's welterheating.com. 4 generations of Welter family. Rick's running the show right now, but he is a wonderful, wonderful individual, a big fan of Garage Logic, and he advertises on Garage Logic because He knows that you guys, if you need a heating unit to be worked on or a cooling unit to be worked on or an air purification system, you're going to call Welter. 612-825-6867. You can certainly make an appointment online. That's welterheating.com. There's also a blog section that you can click on a question, and it may have the answer for you. It might be a self-fix, and you might not have to have anybody come out. But if you do have someone come out, they are trained, certified, wonderful, wonderful guys and gals that will work on your heating or cooling unit or air purification system. They serve the metro area, and once again, that phone number, 612-825-6867. Remember, air condition or heat your shelter with the fine folks from Ray N. Welter.
Our president is a strange cat.
Where do you start?
He gave, as all presidents have done, gave the commencement address at West Point over the weekend. And he'd said many things that brought cheers. And then all of a sudden, he started talking about William Levitt. You know who William Levitt is? Levittown?
Sure.
Yes.
William Levitt was a guy who revolutionized housing post-World War II, and suddenly there was a home to buy for the GI, and they were out east, and it was, just acres and acres and acres of these homes that people were buying, and
a lot of homes.
It made Levitt a fortune. Now, why Don started talking about William Levitt is beyond all of us. We don't know. We don't know how his mind works. But you should hear this, because I'm trying to imagine, I've just done 4 years at West Point.
Yep.
And
It was a grind.
it was tough to get through, and I did it. And I got the grades, and I'm going to get my diploma, and the president is here. And then this starts.
A trophy one. It didn't work out too well.
Talking about
But
Levitt.
that doesn't work out too well, I must tell you. A lot of trophy wives doesn't work out.
Yeah.
But it made him happy for a little while at least.
Yeah.
But he found a new wife. He sold his little boat and he got a big yacht. He had one of the biggest yachts anywhere in the world. He moved for a time to Monte Carlo and he led the good life. And time went by and he got bored. And 15 years later, the company that he sold to called him and they said, the housing business is not for us. You have to understand, when Bill Levitt was hot, when he had momentum, he'd go to the job sites every night. He'd pick up every loose nail. He'd pick up every scrap of wood. If there was a bolt or a screw laying on the ground, he'd pick it up and he'd use it the next day in putting together a house.
What?
I guess the message was,
What's the moral of that story?
well, I guess the moral of the story is that, hard work pays off.
Or
I guess.
there can be a time in your life where you're down and out, and then you find a way to bounce back.
Well, he wasn't down and out. He
He
was
was rich.
he was rich, and he had
Well,
the
the
trophy
trophy
wife.
wife deal,
We like trophy. Can we say trophy wives? We like them.
ever
Sometimes
s-
it works out.
You ever seen the documentary Crisis in Levittown?
No.
You should watch that.
What
is it
happened?
called?
Well,
Johnny?
William he had some issues. He wouldn't segregate any of his developments. Wouldn't let black people in.
Oh, I
He
didn't know
was-
that. I don't know much about William Levitt.
Well, he developed all those houses,
Right.
You know that, and all
Yeah.
the developments, but he wouldn't allow black people to buy houses in them.
But maybe that was maybe Trump meant that to be inspirational. You get a gig, pick up the loose bolts and nuts, because that saves you some money.
That's it. Yeah.
That saves you some money. We also have today's Ilhan Omar update.
Oh,
I'll give you a moment there.
going to go heavy with the president.
Well, what is there to say? Then he spoke at Arlington. I don't know what. I'm sure that was good. I don't know. I didn't hear any of that.
I asked this off the air, but I'll ask it on the air just to see if the GLers can respond. Do they always have West Point's graduation Memorial Day weekend?
I can respond because I looked it up when
Oh,
you asked
good.
earlier off air. They do not. It varies from year to year.
Oh, so it was
It's
just a
not always
coincidence.
Memorial
Because I think
Yep.
that if they do, that's pretty cool that they do it
Yep.
that
Well,
weekend.
it interfered with his tea time. Was it Saturday? Was that the day of the West Point?
West Point was yesterday, wasn't it? Memorial Day.
Here,
maybe it was
let me
yesterday.
look at the date line of the clip. This is from this says May 24th, John.
Oh, okay. So it was Saturday.
Saturday.
Okay. Yeah. Then he had tea time.
At 4:45 p.m. This is when this was posted on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, there's still daylight. He could play till 9. You know.
I get the twilight rate.
Yeah. He gets any rate he wants.
You know who's a big twilight golfer? Your buddy Fratelloni.
Really?
He loves golfing at night when no one's on the course.
Yeah. Huh. Now we haven't. Now you'll know that 2 Israeli Jewish people about to be married were gunned down by a guy in Washington D.C. last week.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything wrong. They were innocents, and this pro-Palestinian guy gunned him down. He said, "I did it for Palestine." Maybe he's trying to become the new Luigi Mangione. You know, maybe he'll be a hero too. He'll be a hero to ignorant, failed academy students who really don't understand what's happening. In any event, Ilhan Omar was asked about this.
Here is your latest Ilhan Omar report on Garage Logic.
Congresswoman Omar,
anybody safe?
Can I get your reaction to the shooting that happened in D.C. last night?
I'm going to go for now.
I'm going to go for now. I think that just meant I'm going someplace. I don't.
Well, at least she didn't use the F word like she did the last time we had the Ilhan Omar report.
I'm going to go for now. You know, she's a senator. No, what is she? House
Congresswoman.
member? Yeah. It wouldn't have killed her to say that's terrible. I'm sorry. It wouldn't have, but she can't. She's not going to. No. She's. If I said the president's a strange cat, she's stranger. All right.
Yeah.
She's more strange.
She also has much worse intentions, in my opinion.
I believe you're right. I don't think Trump has bad intentions on behalf of the American people. I will say, I'm not even going to go into it. I was going to say he threw. There was a bash thrown for people who invested in his crypto deal. I'm not going to pretend to understand it.
Wait, I missed this
one.
Oh,
yeah, there was if you contributed enough money, you got to attend a dinner, and then people got prizes for what they bought, or I don't know. I'm going to leave it alone because I don't know crypto. I'm very unnerved by the whole crypto thing. I don't even know what it means.
I have the story. So apparently wow.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. He is stretching the emolument clause.
Stretching?
Yeah.
That's very kind, Joe. You're being very kind.
I am stretching it.
Crypto investors have slammed President Donald Trump's event after they each paid $1.7 million to attend.
Yeah.
Investors shelled out a total of $148 million on the president's meme. Oh, my God.
Yeah, and you know that's rubbing me the wrong way. Maybe I don't understand it. See, it's one thing if the king of Agobagi gives you maybe a shotgun.
Yep.
You know, and you hang it up in the office. And
in the rack.
I got this from the king, and
what
he's being given stuff that he took an airplane, for God's sakes.
Here's the biggest.
It's a piece of crap that they've been trying to get rid of for 5 years.
Apparently, a lot of the people that were upset with this event, you know what they were most upset about? The food.
Really?
They were apparently served airline food, according to.
That's the guests who were upset.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I said. Yes. I'm sorry. I thought that's
for
what
$1.5 million,
I
want some food.
Here we go, Rookie. Ready?
Give me some.
Here were your options. The options at the Trump meme
and it wasn't
coin.
held at the White House.
No, it was not. Options reportedly included a pan-seared halibut with citrus reduction. I don't know what that means.
Oh, I love pan-seared halibut.
Organic salad.
That's fine.
Garlic mashed potatoes.
Sure.
Yeah. And filet.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know what's wrong with that. These
sounds
people
wonderful.
seem a bit. Although for 1.7 mil, I would have probably wanted.
I want it made at my table.
According to one particular person who spoke to NBC, they added the food sucked. Wasn't given any drinks other than water or Trump's wine. He's got wine?
He's got his own wine?
I don't drink, so I had water. My glass was only filled one time.
Boy,
that's bad service.
That's some rough treatment.
That's bad. You know what? You won't get your repeat customer there.
Yeah.
Sounds like he's done.
We have our new fraud. They just keep coming.
What do you got? What's the new fraud?
This has been all over the news. This happens to be a Bill Glahn piece. We're digging into the newest Feeding Our Future scandal. It's called the New Vision Foundation of St. Paul.
The New Vision
Vision Foundation. Now, it hasn't been charged with any wrongdoing so far. Right. Last week, FBI agents executed a search warrant at the nonprofit's Vandalia Street offices.
Right
it's not
down the
far
street?
from here.
A stone's throw.
I know where it is. The company's primary business is computer training. Right?
Okay.
They're located in an industrial park just north of University Avenue. It's a building with a blue door. What's behind the blue door?
What's behind the blue door?
The Chinese building's over this way, too.
Yeah, they're very close.
According to records maintained by the State Department of Education, New Vision operated free food distribution sites in St. Paul and Waite Park. Now, Waite Park is up by St. Cloud. Yeah.
That's right.
Stone's throw.
But it really is up by St. Cloud.
It is.
Yeah. New Vision took more than $2.7 million from the free food program, claiming to have served more than 1 million meals in 2021. And there we are again.
Wow.
There we are again with my constant wondering of the people who had to write the check at the Department of Education. Didn't they ever stop and say to their cube mate, "Hey, Adam, well, look at this.
What's this New Vision thing?
A million meals? 1 million meals?" They claim to have served more than 1 million meals in 2021 under the sponsorship of Feeding Our Future. After the fact, the nonprofit's board commissioned an independent financial audit for 2021.
You ask Siri something? Hello, Siri.
I'm sorry. I should turn that off.
That's okay. We're not offended.
Yeah.
Where was I? Oh, after the fact, the nonprofit's board commissioned an independent financial audit for 2021. The audit makes clear that the meals were not served at Vandalia Street, but were supposed to be delivered.
Oh, you would have seen lines going out the door.
Oh, of course. The organization purchased meals from a vendor that delivered meals to the homes of the participating children. There was not documentation of delivery of meals, such as logs, schedules, to support the number of meals actually delivered, but rather an invoice showing the total meal number. Meals on the provided invoices included 7-day meal bundles, which were also not allowed under the program guidance, as the after-school programs were not provided all 7 days. In addition, the site application submitted by the sponsor organization, that would be Feeding Our Future, indicated that meals were served on site. Well, they weren't. Schools resumed in-person learning in September of 2021, but non-congregate meals were provided by the organization from September to December of 2021. All right. Reimbursed meals for 2021 totaled $2,736,460, which did not contain evidence of any delivery of those meals by vendors.
Oh, jeez.
New Vision's largest food vendor, got $2.2 million, was Ahlan Restaurant, AHLAN. Mm-hmm. Located on East Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. The search warrant from the FBI includes a photo of the tiny restaurant. It's as big as this studio.
I'm looking it up right now, New Vision.
Bill Glahn visited the site and confirmed that a restaurant still works at that address, but under a different name. He linked the earliest media accounts of the New Vision FBI raid published by Sahan Journal and NPR News on the same day the search warrant was executed. Carol Evan has come out with it. CCO has come out with it. KSTP Channel 5 has come out with it. Star Tribune has said something. The nonprofit boasts on its website grants and donations from corporations and foundations such as 3M, Target, Comcast, Wells Fargo, Thrivent, and Greater Twin Cities United Way. In addition, New Vision Foundation claims support from Ramsey County, Minnesota DEED, which is Department of Economic Development, and the city of St. Paul. Bill Glan has previously documented grants from DEED. As for Ramsey County and St. Paul, this report describes one 2023 grant. Ramsey County has chosen New Vision Foundation to train the next generation of diverse local, just about to itch my eye.
Got it.
To diverse local software engineering talent to train that new group. With $1.2 million in funding from the Federal American Rescue Plan invested in partnership with the city of St. Paul, 30 young people of color from Ramsey County will learn everything they need to contribute to our tech workforce. So the taxpayers of St. Paul sent money to the Blue Door. The idea for this new program was born 5 years ago when the New Vision founder, Hussein Farah, and a redacted CEO, were both Bush Foundation fellows. The report indicates that New Vision may have also received a small grant from Kandiyohi County. To repeat, no charges filed. What this looks like to me, if I might just take a stab at it. If I might just take a stab at it, they might very well be in the legitimate tech industry.
We don't know that.
I just said they might very well be training young people on the machinery, the computers, and whatever you do to learn tech. That might very well be. But they got wind of. They got buddies in the food scam. They got wind of that, and they said, well, tell us about that. Well, all you need is a little restaurant. Then you need to fill out some forms and tell them you're feeding this many people. And they might have, I'm just saying, they might have said, what the hell, let's give that a shot, too. And they submitted their claim that we fed 1 million kids. You know, here's the restaurant. We got vendors. Do you have any paperwork? No. But we did this. And so they get the check for $2.7 million. And the largest guy was who got $2.2 million.
Hussein Farah?
Yeah, he got some. No, that isn't it. Where is it? It's right here. Who got the $2.2 million? Their largest vendor.
Ilhan Restaurant on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis.
Yeah. And the vendor got. The largest vendor was Ilhan Restaurant on Franklin Avenue. They got $2.2 million. I can tell you this: they're very thrifty people. They didn't spend any of the $2.2 million on their building.
No.
Let's put it that way.
No, not at all.
The building looks like an abandoned one-car gas station.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, that's very legitimately what it might have been someday, an abandoned one-car gas station. That's the Ilhan, A-H-L-A-N restaurant on Franklin.
Hey, but it looks like it's got a nice little deck off to the side.
Well, for about 2 people.
Yeah.
You know
Great
what?
for summer.
You know what a creative real estate agent
I
would
think
have
it's
called
got
that?
a basketball hoop, too. Isn't that? No, that's a stop sign.
It's a
I'm
stop
sorry.
sign, yeah.
A creative real estate agent would have called that place cozy.
Cozy.
No,
yeah.
a creative real estate agent would have said, full of promise.
There you go.
Yeah. Full of promise. The only way to stop the fraud, by the way, the Democrats have rejected any notion of creating an inspector general. Now, I have 2 thoughts about that. One, you wouldn't think we'd need one. But 2, unfortunately, we do. And what the Democrats refusing to take that up tells me fraud will not stop unless the Democrats are voted out of office.
Yeah.
And I don't see any hope for that.
Good luck with that.
I don't see any hope for that in the Metro.
No.
Apparently, people are very satisfied with this fraud. They're satisfied with approaching $1 billion now of their tax money stolen. The people of the Twin Cities apparently do not care. They just don't care. No. You know, the Timberwolves are in the Western Conference Finals. We don't care that $1 billion have been stolen. It's just not a problem. But it won't stop. The Democrats don't even want it to stop. I say that with some comfort. The Democrats don't want it to stop.
No, it's the train,
Which you should be able to do your own linking. If the Democrats don't want to appoint somebody to get tough on state fraud, what does that tell you about the Democrats?
That's why everyone hates Elon. He's not biting.
Well, I gave you your lawyer guy. Your garage door guy is Precision Garage Door MN. Precision Door MN, serving western Wisconsin, the entire metro. They take care of any current problems you might have, and if you need a door, they have models of new doors for every budget. They send out a designer. That consultation is free of charge. Think what a new door would do for you. Security, insulation, aesthetics. And if you get a new door now, Precision Door is throwing in the new motor to open that door. That's a value of more than $760. You can reach Precision Garage Door at 612-263-6985, or to book an appointment or schedule your free on-site new door estimate, go to Precision Door MN, one word, precisiondoormn.com.
The earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
How about North American Banking Company, huh? They're the best in the business. And here's the deal. If you own a business, then I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be better served if you decide to go with North American Banking Company because they have one philosophy and have done that, Joe, since 1998. They made a promise to deliver a better banking experience for their customers where you know your banker and they know you. I thought I did slow down.
What does an orange light mean?
Slow down.
Slow down.
What does an orange light mean? Anyway, nabankco.com, that's the website for North American Banking Company, and you do get that feeling anytime that you walk in any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations, whether it's Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, or Maple Grove. They offer all of the services as the other big national banks, whether you're looking to buy a home, maybe finance a new home renovation project with a home equity line of credit, or maybe get that new car that you've been thinking about. The experts at North American Banking Company are going to be able to help you out. And they also offer all of the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks. But the key difference is you're going to get that unparalleled service of a community bank. So check them out again online, nabankco.com. It's banking done differently. North American Banking Company member FDIC is an equal housing lender. Joe?
Maybe you and John Haidt can answer this question. If you go to let's say you wanted to go to yesterday's Twins game.
Well, you'd have to fly to Tampa.
I'm sorry. What was yesterday? Monday? Yeah. Sunday's Twins game. Sunday's Twins game.
Yes, sir.
Everything's digital now.
Yep.
How would you buy a ticket from somebody standing outside the ballpark?
So I did this very thing on Saturday. I took the boys to the ball game.
What do you do physically?
I looked at StubHub first because I wanted to see if they had anything deals in the secondary market. They didn't really have much, so I went to the gal at the gate, right, or the counter, and they text him to you.
You didn't answer my question.
Oh.
I run into a guy, he's standing there, and he says, hey, I'm selling 2 tickets. How do I buy the tickets from him?
You can transfer tickets on most apps, but then you'd have to, I'd be very wary.
Okay, so you need an app to do that.
Can I help you?
You need a wallet.
That's why they've done digital tickets to get rid of the guy on the street.
Okay, so if I wanted to go to Sunday's Twins game, I'm sure tickets were available.
Yeah.
I would have gone up to the ticket window and just bought tickets.
Or, like John said, you can go to the secondary market, whether it's our guys at Ticket King, StubHub, whoever, and you can buy them digitally online.
I only use Ticket King.
Sure. Yeah, that's how you would do it. And then they transfer them digitally, like John said, through the MLB Ballpark app.
Okay, but for even Ticket King to do it, I would need the app.
Yes.
Here's John Haidt in the newsroom.
We get that cleared up for you?
2025.
Not quite the Brian Harper time,
Joe. Come on.
I don't like any of this modern BS.
The only thing
I want to hold a ticket. What if a kid wants to have a ticket and put it on his bulletin board in his room to remember a game?
That's the only thing I do miss is being able to have, because, I
Big,
want to
thick cardboard ticket.
get it in a frame.
Yeah.
I have hundreds of concert tickets, and now sometimes I can't get a real ticket, and it drives me nuts because I want to add it to my tickets.
Yeah. I don't have any tickets.
Okay.
Here's John Haidt.
Okay, then we're cleared up.
This news is brought to you by North American Banking Company. A couple other sports notes besides how to get Twins tickets.
Yeah. Right.
The Wolves couldn't quite make it over the hump last night. Losing to Oklahoma City at 128-126. They now trail in the best-of-7 series, 3-1. The winner moves on to the NBA Finals. Game 5 in Oklahoma City tomorrow night. Of course, if the Wolves would lose that means they're done in Oklahoma City.
Too hard to pick when you see what happened Saturday night. I don't understand it. Why can't they play like that every night?
They're going to beat them. They're going to beat them. Making a call right now.
You want to put money on that?
Nope.
Okay.
I guarantee you everybody on this show said to their family, God, now Joe's going to say, why can't they do this every night?
To the point where I was in a group text with your Monday Night Sports Talk host that said that very thing. Yeah. Joe's response is going to be, why can't they play like that every night?
Unbelievable. I don't recall a lead like that in a game.
Especially
42 points.
Especially a Western Conference Finals.
Mother of God.
And congrats to the Minnesota Frost. The Walter Cup will stay in Minnesota after the Professional Women's Hockey League team, the Frost, won the championship for the second year in a row. The Frost defeated the Ottawa Charge, winning Game 4 at home in St. Paul in the best-of-5 PWHL finals, becoming two-time champs in the league's second year.
2 questions. What do they play, about 5 regular season games?
It's a very short season.
And 2, who's Walter?
Oh.
Look it up.
Walter
The
Trophy?
Walter Cup
Yeah,
for
Walter
women's hockey. Who's Walter?
I believe it's in honor of the
Not
Big
Walter
Lebowski.
Bush, I bet.
No, the Big Lebowski.
Could be.
This isn't
not
knob
knob.
rules.
This is not knob, Smokey.
We ain't got rules.
In,
God, that's such a great line.
in news,
I bet their media guy is just busier than a one-armed paper hanger today, Mr. Fun.
yeah, I saw a picture of him on the ice with the trophy.
The Walter Cup is the championship. It was designed by Tiffany and Company and is named after Mark Walter and his family, who are the primary financial backers of the league.
Okay.
Trophy's made of sterling
There you
silver.
go.
Thank you.
In
Did they
news-
parade it around the rink like the Stanley Cup?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did. The previous man he mentioned there, Mr. Fun, was holding it on the ice, so I'm guessing the team probably had it out on the ice.
I wonder what day he's going to get it.
In news.
I hope I'm around him.
Take it up to the lake?
Yeah, take it up to the lake, drink out of it.
Yeah.
In news, jury selection began this morning in the trial of 29-year-old Derek Thompson. Thompson charged with multiple counts of third-degree murder and criminal vehicular homicide in the deaths of 5 young women killed when he slammed his vehicle into their vehicle. The selection process likely will take up to the next 2 days, meaning opening statements could begin as early as Thursday.
Can I save you the trouble? Just put him away for life. Let's move on here.
In all, Thompson is facing 15 felony charges in Hennepin County. If he's convicted of all charges, he'd spend decades in prison. In addition to that, prosecutors are asking for an aggravated sentence, meaning potentially more time behind bars. This all relates back to a crash we've talked about previously, June 16, 2023, at a stoplight at 2nd Avenue and Lake Street. Prosecutors say the 5 victims were in a car when Thompson's SUV sped through a red light and hit them. Investigators say Thompson was fleeing the state patrol after being clocked going 95 miles an hour in a 55. Officers later found a loaded gun, cocaine, and more than 2,000 fentanyl pills in his car after the crash. Thompson has already been found guilty on federal charges related to the guns and the drugs. Thompson, the son of former state representative John Thompson.
Do you realize how much fentanyl he had and how many people could have died as a result from the fentanyl alone that he had in his possession?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What an absolute scumbag.
Life. 2 life terms. I'll settle for 2 life terms.
Fire crews are continuing their work to extinguish the flames of wildfires across northern Minnesota this week. Latest update shows the Jenkins Creek fire is now at 84% containment. That's up from yesterday's 78%. And the Camp House fire remains at 90% containment. This morning, the response team said crews were prioritizing areas of the Camp House fire, which would help protect wild rice lakes. The crop is extremely sensitive to changes in both water levels and water quality, and only grows well under certain chemical and ecological conditions. In addition, the incident management team says the Minnesota DNR will be managing the Camp House fire starting tomorrow.
I smelled the smoke yesterday for the first time.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And it was brief. Got a gust of north wind, and it was on the air. And then it wasn't very, very noticeable after that.
May I ask maybe an indelicate question?
Maybe it was just somebody, in the next yard.
Yeah.
Is this taking a lot longer than it should?
No, you got to put them out,
No, but I meant this has been going on for
Well,
2 weeks.
They're not easy to put out. They're in remote areas.
They keep burning.
Yeah.
You know the hockey juggernaut, the Frost, who are back-to-back champions, they are one of the original 6.
Good. How many teams are there?
7.
And from the Star Tribune, looking at ways to allow more...
I'm sorry, John.
Yeah.
May I just say?
Oh, God.
Sure.
No, come on.
No.
Let them have their moment.
No, congratulations. It's wonderful.
Oh, okay.
But, and I'm a hockey guy. I love hockey. But I think women's basketball players are better at basketball than women's hockey players are better at hockey.
Okay.
Women's basketball more closely resembles a real basketball game.
No, don't say it that way.
Never mind.
Hey,
The
let me
men's-
remind you of something.
The men's game is what you're trying to say.
Well, never mind. I just think women's basketball might be a notch above.
Didn't you also say that women's hockey has drastically improved?
Oh, my God. It's unrecognizable compared to even 10 years ago. They're fantastic players.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then. From the Star Tribune, looking at ways to allow more affordable housing, the Blaine City Council 4 years ago agreed to let residents build accessory dwelling units, the backyard tiny homes often called mother-in-law suites. But the city hadn't received any requests from residents looking to build one until homeowner Alex Pepin put an application in earlier this year, and now that sparked a debate that has prompted the city to reconsider the whole idea. Pepin, who runs a nonprofit serving the homeless, asked for a permit to build an accessory dwelling, an ADU, in his backyard, hoping to rent it out to a family in need. David Heim is a resident in the area. He said everybody's upset. The neighborhood is up in arms over this. The Planning Commission approved Pepin's request, but then the City Council, citing concerns about density and Pepin renting out the unit, voted 5-2 to deny it. Now the council has put a year-long moratorium on accepting requests for ADUs so it can rethink the city's rules. Pepin said it's disappointing. We're just trying to do an allowable activity in the city. This is an allowable means to get affordable housing for people who need our help in the community. For now, anyway, it looks like it'll be a year before they consider it again. Blaine Mayor Tim Sanders voted against the request, said he thinks the pause on ADUs is needed so officials can reevaluate the city ordinance and determine any unintended consequences.
Getting an idea over there? Is that what you're getting?
Brooke, have you built a little house in your backyard? Can I live there?
Yep. Come on down. Little small house.
He took his head out the door. What time's dinner?
It's been done before.
Can I have dinner there?
Yes.
Can I say we should take a little break at this point and hear from the mayor, Mr. Susher.
I hope you took advantage of this marvelous weekend that we just concluded and got out to EcoFun Motorsports in either Forest Lake or Burnsville. What a fun recreational experience it is to get to an EcoFun, the electric bike capital of the world, but also scooters and motorcycles and wave runners and side-by-sides and youth recreational equipment. They got Scoot Star bikes that are really cool. They got a headlight like a motorcycle. They're really neat looking. And you can leave there with the perfect fit, the perfect equipment, because Kalen Bloom is the expert on electric bikes. They might even have a few Yamaha generators left over when Tim took in a big truckload of generators this winter. And they have service, of course, and apparel and helmets. But you can leave there with an electric bike suitable for all your riding needs. You'll get the right handlebar height and the right seat and the right tires, everything. And if you haven't picked up your stuff yet, there's still, maybe you need to pick up your scooter or your bike or have it delivered. Call 612-321-8867, option 3. It's EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake / Columbus. It's immediately west of 35 on Highway 97, a couple of roundabouts, and you're there. Boom. Great big parking lot for test riding that electric bike. And also EcoFun Motorsports in Burnsville on the Service Road of Life near County Road 42.
You cannot stop him. He'll just make a move. Joe Souchere.
Speaking of making a move, I would like you to make a move on this because this is going to be gone really quick. Escape With Us Vacations, my sisters, Maria and Teresa, are planning a fantastic trip. You're stepping back in time with a stay at Tombstone Monument Ranch and Cattle. Yep.
I didn't realize how close to the border. This has got to be cool.
It's going to be really cool. There's a whole bunch of stuff to do. It's September 3rd through the 7th of this year. It's a 4-night package that includes round-trip air to Phoenix, comfortable motor coach transportation, 4 nights accommodations at Tombstone Monument Ranch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner daily, and 4 ranch activities. You can get more if you want to, plus nighttime entertainment. I also want to say there's a really cool, each room has its own town staple. There's a jail, a marshal's office.
Shut up.
A bordello, a newspaper, and a courthouse, etc.
That's cool.
You can sleep in there, you mean?
That's your room. That's the.
I'd sleep in the newspaper office.
Yeah, I know you would.
Your feet up on the desk?
Yeah.
The sample of what you'd be doing every day, let me just tell you, I mean, quick here. There is a cowboy breakfast at the Chuck Wagon.
You got to have a Chuck Wagon.
Then you can go for a slow ride. There's lessons, live music in the saloon. You can also go for a fast ride on the horses. There's so much to do here. I only have a minute. Archery, shooting, yes, that's a
I would want the
possibility.
line where it led to the slow horses.
I think I'm a slow horse ride
I want
guy.
a slow horse.
I want a slow one. Well, it's all available on their website, escapewithusvacations.com. And a little teaser, yes, September 2026, there's going to be a Croatian yacht again. That's going to be a blast. I can't wait to go on this trip.
You'll no sooner get back from the Dude Ranch and you'll have to go to Croatia.
It's bing, bang, boom. We don't sit around here at escapewithusvacations.com. 651-788-4338. Make sure that you tell them that you heard it on Garage Logic and you want to book that trip to Tombstone.
Thanks, Rook. In national, international news, if you're keeping track, if you have a scorecard, the tariffs are off again for the time being anyway.
I mean, look at the market.
It's up, way up. President Trump has agreed to extend a deadline to negotiate tariffs with the European Union by more than a month.
They were inspired by the trophy wife speech.
Yep.
Yeah.
On Sunday, the president on social media wrote he was pushing his deadline back to July 9th after a, quote, very nice call with Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commission chief. His acceptance of that date means the deadline is close to what it was previously before he threatened a 50% rate. He had set a deadline of July 8th for both sides to talk before that. As Joe said, the Dow Jones up 708 as of about a few minutes ago, the NASDAQ 460, and the S&P 117. At least 12 people killed, several others wounded following a massive Russian drone and missile strike on Ukrainian cities Sunday. The barrage, which included more than 350 explosive drones and 9 cruise missiles, was the largest to date in the 3-year war. The attacks are the latest sign of dimming prospects in the U.S.-led ceasefire talks, come less than a week after a 2-hour call between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Trump harshly criticized Putin to reporters after the weekend strikes, though it remains unclear whether that'll lead to a shift in administration policy toward the war. The Kremlin shrugged off Trump's public criticism of Putin as a case of, in their words, emotional overstrain.
I like what Trump said.
I do too.
He said Putin's crazy. Yeah. I like it. Let's get it out there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A Russian spokesperson said any chance at a peace deal appears dead. 53-year-old British man who injured 65 people when he plowed his vehicle into a crowd of Liverpool soccer fans celebrating their team's Premier League championship has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. The driver was also being held on suspicion of dangerous driving and driving while on drugs, according to Detective Chief Superintendent Karen Jondrill. Some 50 people were treated at hospitals, the 11 remaining hospitalized in stable condition this morning. The driver had managed to get around police roadblocks by following an ambulance that was rushing to treat a person who was having a heart attack. Merseyside police said they were not treating the incident as terrorism. They're not looking for other suspects. The force has not publicly identified the arrested driver. Police in Britain usually do not name suspects until they are charged.
You guys saw the video, I assume?
I did.
How the number I thought would have been 3 times that, like injured in death.
And nobody died.
Well, that's what I'm just saying. It's impossible to believe that no one died as a result of that.
Charlie Rangel, a Democratic former congressman from New York who championed the Harlem community, has died. He was 94 years old. Politicians and supporters remembered Rangel for his years in public service and deep roots in New York City. He was born in Harlem, first elected to Congress in 1970 with a surprise win over legendary Adam Clayton Powell. Rangel was a veteran of the Korean War, where he earned a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star. He led a group of soldiers out of a deadly Chinese army encirclement during the Battle of Kunyu-ri in 1950. He was a high school dropout, but eventually went to college on the GI Bill, getting a law degree. In 2010, he stepped down from the Ways and Means Committee amid an ethics cloud. The House would later censure him, a 333-79 vote, citing nearly a dozen ethics violations that included breaching a gifts ban.
Huh?
I'll get it, don't worry.
Are you just saying words that rhyme?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I was writing a song. Come September, every public school classroom in Texas could be required to display the Ten Commandments under a requirement that passed a key vote in the Texas legislature Sunday. Senate Bill 10 moved forward despite a federal court ruling that a similar Louisiana law violated a constitutionally required separation of church and state. The bill preliminary passed the House 88-49 on Saturday, which is, of course, the Jewish Sabbath day, which the Ten Commandments forbids, as Representative James Tallarico pointed out in efforts to highlight what he called hypocrisy. The lower chamber's initial approval came after more than 2 hours of debate. On Sunday, the House passed the bill. If the Senate approves it, a Senate committee, the bill then heads to Governor Greg Abbott, who's expected to sign it. Billy Joel's wife thanking fans yesterday for an outpouring of support following the disclosure of a brain condition impacting the musician's hearing, vision, and balance. The 76-year-old singer recently diagnosed with normal pressure hydrocephalus, a disorder causing cerebral spinal fluid to build up around the brain, impacting its function. It becomes more common with age. About 5.9% of people over the age of 80 get it. It can be caused by a variety of factors, including head injuries, infections, or brain tumors. Joel will undergo physical therapy to treat the condition, which is reversible. He's canceling all planned concerts through July of 2026.
Doesn't sound good. I didn't realize Billy Joel was almost 80 years old.
Yeah, 76. Makes sense. We did lose a rock musician yesterday. Jack of all trades on guitar, touchstone of sorts in the history of the music. Rick Derringer died at the age of 77. He first gained success back in the 1960s with the McCoys, having a huge hit with Hang On Sloopy. He spent considerable time playing with Edgar and Johnny Winter in various bands in the early 1970s, playing all the guitars on Edgar's big hits, Free Ride and Frankenstein. In 1973, put out one of the finest records of the decade, in my opinion, All American Boy. That contained the hit Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, but contained a wonderful mix of styles that showcased his versatility as a songwriter and guitarist. From there, he did lots of studio work, even stuff with Steely Dan, playing solos on Showbiz Kids and Chain Lightning. More recently, he's the guy you hear mimicking Eddie Van Halen's solo on Weird Al's Eat It. In 2014... In 2014.
Well, I laugh, but it's actually really good.
Oh, it's a great solo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just pretty much a mimicry of Eddie's in Beat It. So, in 2014, Derringer performed on Peter Frampton's Guitar Circus tour with notable guitarists. He's played numerous times with Ringo's All-Stars. He had been having recent health issues with angioplasty, showing artery blockages and being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes.
You know, Eddie did that Beat It solo for free.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. And the band was very angry with him.
Mm-hmm.
I did know that. I did know that they didn't like that he did that.
He said, if Quincy Jones calls you, I ain't charging him.
Oh, I suppose, yeah. Was he, to ask the Kenny Olson question since he's not here today, was he a monster?
Who?
Derringer.
Oh, God. Are you kidding me?
I only asked that because Kenny would have asked the
Thanks.
same
I'm glad
thing.
you filled in for Kenny.
Played the part of Kenny today. Is
amazing musician, amazing guitarist, both. Amazing songwriter, too. Doesn't get much credit for that, but he was.
Yeah, Hang On Sloopy. That's pretty good.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm sure, in the 70s, since I know you've never listened to any music from that era, you've probably never heard the All-American Boy album. So
I probably have not.
You probably have not.
John, I am going to listen to that today.
I'm aware of that. Great album. Wonderful album. 10 people shot and at least one other person injured when a holiday weekend gathering at a charter boat in a South Carolina coastal community turned violent. Some of those injured in the shooting in Little River on Sunday were in critical condition as of yesterday. Horry County Police said without specifying how many, detectives were trying to determine who was responsible for the shooting. No names have been released. The shooting stemmed from an altercation during a private Memorial Day weekend gathering on a charter boat in Little River. Same story in Philadelphia. 2 people killed, 9 others, including 6 teens, hurt in a mass shooting of rapid gunfire on Lemon Hill in Philadelphia on Memorial Day. The shooting, described by Mayor Sherrell Parker as a heinous act of violence, took place just before 10:30 in the evening. 21-year-old Michael Bowers and 23-year-old Amaya Devlin were killed in the shooting, while 9 other victims were listed in stable condition at local hospitals. In Colorado, Durango police officers were called out for an unexpected repeat offender, an escaped kangaroo.
You have the boxing gloves on?
Yeah. In October 2024, the Durango Police Department said its officers were caught in a high-speed chase, or, as they called it, a hop-speed chase with a
Get it, Joe?
kangaroo.
Hop speed chase.
Boing, 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 boing.
How come police use all those just god-awful?
John, you said this was October of 2024.
That was the first time.
Oh,
Remember,
I see.
I also said it was a repeat offender.
I see.
The first time was October 2024. In that case, after some time, officers were able to wrangle the creature and return him to his owner. Well, last week, Irwin, the red kangaroo, decided he was ready for another 15 minutes of fame and made what is being called a return appearance. Officers were able to get Irwin back before putting him in the back of a patrol car and taking him home. You can, if you're wondering, legally own a red kangaroo in Colorado, according to Parks and Wildlife. However, you must comply with all federal, state, and local laws.
You know what his family said, right?
No.
The kangaroo's family, he's trying to get his life together,
I'm trying to get
Life
my
of
life
crime.
right. Yeah.
John, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's fine.
Okay. Hofferman Water is also fine. And
go.
you know what? You've only got a couple days left to act. Act right now! Because through the end of the month of May, you can take advantage of the anniversary sale going on at Hofferman Water and Connecticut. Here's the details. Well, first of all, go to HoffermanWater.com and you can see for yourself. But it's $400 off a K5 reverse osmosis system, a free A200 drinking water system with the purchase of a Premier Series softener, and half off basic installation for any new 1-year rental contract. That's a pretty big deal. And Hofferman Water also offers 0% interest, same as cash financing with approved credit, but you got to check them out online today. All of their systems are available at HoffermanWater.com, and as long as you're on that website, book your appointment at HoffermanWater.com, or you can give them a call directly at 612-825-8440, or like I said, just go to HoffermanWater.com, and that's because Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. You're going to get the best water possible with HoffermanWater.com and Connecticut. Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Please do me a favor and mention that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
Get this. All you who have mocked me over the years.
The list is long.
Mitch emails me that there's somebody on KBid offering the auction of 3,500 wheat pennies.
Wow.
For about $6.
That's what, $35 worth of wheat pennies?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. I got some. I don't have 3,500 of them.
How many you got?
Maybe I can tell you a story about that. I had a big Kent Herbeck beer cup. They must have been at the ballpark one time, No. And it was full of what I called rare coins. They probably weren't. No. But a kid I used to have said, can I have some of those coins in your... And I said, sure. And he took the whole thing. So for all I know,
well, he did ask
the
first.
Kid's going to be a millionaire. But some of these coins might have been fantastic. Only because now get this, get the schedule of the traveling Lymans. Listen to this. Right. We departed Marloth Park, South Africa, on Saturday, just this past Saturday, May 24th. We traveled to Minnesota. They're here visiting friends and family.
All right.
To attend their granddaughter's graduation. We had 3 flights. The first flight was 55 minutes. That was just Nels Pruitt to Johannesburg. Okay. Then a 2-hour and 25-minute layover in Johannesburg. Second flight was 11 hours, 5 minutes, Johannesburg to London. Then 5 hours, 40 minutes layover in London Heathrow. Third flight was 8 hours and 40 minutes, London to Minneapolis, St. Paul. Total flight times with layovers, 28 hours and 55 minutes.
Wow. Pass.
Counting travel to the airport and arriving several hours for an international flights and counting time in MSP getting luggage and picking up the rental car, 36 hours. From the time we woke up on Saturday in South Africa until we went to sleep Sunday, 47 hours.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Yes.
But,
that's something.
again, because he does more work than any of you have ever done.
Right.
Did that stop him from providing today's This Day in History?
The most interesting part about that to me was it takes 3 hours longer to fly to Johannesburg from London than it does to the U.S. That's interesting.
Well, that's because I bet Johannesburg's farther away.
Thank you.
Yeah. On this day.
Now.
Wow.
You guys locked that one down, huh?
Yeah. He's the moron here is saying, gee, it takes longer to fly to Johannesburg from London than here. Why do you think that would be?
I guess that was surprising to me. I didn't realize it was
Africa
farther.
ain't small,
Thank you.
On this day.
And it's South Africa. She's way down there.
That's right. On this day.
Southern part.
May 27th.
In 1825, Ojibwe author, historian, and legislator William Whipple Warren was born in La Pointe, then Michigan Territory, on Madeline Island. Wow. Moon, was a name I can't pronounce. He later moved to Minnesota and built a home and trading post at Two Rivers near Royalton. He finished his historic book, History of the Ojibwe People, in 1852. On this day.
Today is May 27th, Joe.
In 1858, in Eden Prairie, was it called Eden Prairie then? About 150 Ojibwe attacked and defeated Shakopee's band of Dakota in the Battle of Shakopee, the final major battle between those tribes in Minnesota. So just imagine present-day Eden Prairie with its cul-de-sacs and twists and turns and homes and what have you, and imagine that was a battleground.
That's pretty key,
On this day,
cool. May 27th.
Also in 1858, the Army withdrew troops from Fort Snelling, having decided that the fort was no longer an essential outpost. Military personnel returned in 1861 to train recruits for for the Civil War.
I didn't know that.
On this day, that's why I do this,
Yeah,
Matt.
thank you for your service.
On this day,
May 27th.
in 1902, the Mille Lacs Ojibwe were offered $40,000 to move to the White Earth Reservation so that their land could be sold to developers. In August, 74 men of 125 available signed the agreement, and by 1914, 1,152 individuals had moved to White Earth, while 276 remained at Mille Lacs. I would like to offer a side note to this.
Go.
So in 1902, some developers offered $40,000 to the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. Where was the development? Mille Lacs is notoriously undeveloped around the lakeshore.
Maybe they just decided not to then. I don't know. They screwed them over however much money they were supposed to get.
On this day, finally on this day,
May 27th.
in 1930, this is very crucial,
This is nice.
a patent was issued to 3M for its transparent cellophane tape. What fortunes were built on that, huh?
Yeah.
Which became known as Scotch tape.
My uncle was part of the
Richard
invention.
Thank you. Richard what? He had forklift truck driver?
He was Post-it notes was his idea and clear Scotch tape.
Wait a minute. Wait a
aren't
minute.
you
Let me stop right here. Post-it notes was his idea,
Yep.
and he was in on the invention of Scotch tape.
Yes.
What are you doing here?
I'm still working at Garage Logic.
I
and
got
at
to
the
think he is a very well-to-do man.
airport. He's no longer alive.
So, no, he's not a well-to-do man.
Was he a well-to-do?
Yeah, he was. He made millions and millions.
Well, whose brother was it?
My dad's brother, Rick. I'm so full of shit.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. See, I'm buying it. I'm buying the whole thing.
You know what? Because here's why.
I'm buying it. So your uncle wasn't in.
No.
God
Uncle
dang
John,
it.
Uncle Jeff. No, they never.
Oh, God.
But here's why. Here's why I knew I could float that trial balloon and you would bite on it.
You're such a
Do you know
bad
why?
person.
There's only one reason that you bought into my story.
Why?
3M. You love 3M stories like that.
I do.
You do, and I knew I was playing on your 3M softness that you would just
Okay.
Yeah.
Not only did I know he was completely full of shit
didn't.
the whole time.
I'm thinking, why hasn't he told me this before?
That's what I was just going to say. You've worked with him for 700 years. How is this the first
Have
time
you
that would
pulled
have ever
this
come
every
up?
time on this day of history?
Probably.
Because we had this last year on this
I
day.
think it was, but I just did Post-it notes. I don't think I included the Scotch tape in prior.
On this day in 1930, a patent was issued to 3M for its transparent cellophane tape, which became known as Scotch tape. Richard G. Drew of St. Paul
See?
had developed the product from his earlier invention, a pressure-sensitive masking tape used as a border while repainting
I've told
cars.
the story many times.
Well, it was Richard Drew because he wanted to kind of remain.
Yeah,
he didn't want to
like
go
the
with
ski.
Mikulski.
Right,
Yeah.
it was too common.
On this day in Minnesota sports disappointment history,
Rick.
Did you know that Scott, they 3M had a mascot?
no, I did not.
Scotty McTape. I'm totally serious.
Like a
It was
dressed
just
up
a
bear.
big
or-
tape that
Print and television advertising. Tartan design, and in the 50s, mascot Scotty McTape appeared on TV.
Hey, Scotty!
Newspapers.
he would just go like this too. Because mascots can't talk.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. You knew you had me, right?
Oh,
Then
for
why
sure.
did you blow it? Why didn't you just leave it as that was your
Because
uncle?
as soon as you were going to read the name,
Yeah, you started pressing me on it, and I just ran into an audio dead end.
yeah, you ran into a dead wall.
I ran into
And
a
as
dead
soon
wall.
as he
brick
said
wall.
Rick, Chris and I
Yeah,
immediately
well, he
knew
said
what
Rick.
Rick.
As soon as he said Rick.
I usually can sniff it out pretty good, but I don't want to wreck the bit. So I'm like, he's full of shit.
I don't know anybody named
on
Rick.
this day in Minnesota sports history,
Rick
May
Welter.
27th.
1944, the Minneapolis Millerettes played their first AAGPBL game and lost to the Rockford Peaches 5-4.
Isn't the Rockford Peaches the Tom Hanks movie?
American Association of Girls. I bet I
League of
figured
Their
out.
Own.
I bet I figured out this anagram. American Association of Girls Professional Baseball League.
Close.
What is it, John?
All American Girls Professional Baseball League.
Well, our girls lost to the Rockford Peaches. 5-4.
Isn't that right? The League of Their Own. Isn't that the Rockford Peaches?
Yes, something like that.
Yeah, it is.
I think. Yeah.
On this day,
Rick was the manager.
Yeah, Rick was the manager.
on this day,
His uncle.
in 1974, somebody in Fenway Park threw a cherry bomb into the Twins' dugout.
Really?
That was a failure. Minnesota sports.
Did anybody
failure.
get hurt?
Doesn't say that.
Okay.
I think if that caused a major
injury,
we would have known about it throughout history.
Probably.
Yeah.
What year was that?
1974.
I wonder if Papa Up was there.
74, I might have been
I was
there.
just going to say, is that the day you lost your wedding ring to Blylevin?
You know, it could have been. It was buried in a Phil Roof's catcher's mitt. I went and dug it out.
I got to get back down there.
Yeah, I got to get back to the dugout. In those days, you could go in the dugout.
Yep.
You know. Say, that's it, GLers. Thank you.
And we'll give our best to Rookie's Uncle Rick.
Yeah, Uncle Rick. I hardly knew ye.
Please do us a favor if you haven't done so already, and you should subscribe to the Garage Logic YouTube channel. Because on that YouTube channel, each and every single day, you can watch the show live. Yeah, that's right. We're on the TVs now. Anyway, but, there's also full segments, video shorts, behind the scenes footage in some cases. Excuse me. It's all there for you on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. And you can follow us along on all of our social media channels. Just search Garage Logic on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And also sign up for the Daily Logician. That email comes right to your inbox each and every single day. And it includes the most recent episode of the podcast.
John.